The date, March 8, 2014, a day that began like any other, but would soon be etched into the annals of aviation history. Kuala Lumpur International Airport bustled with the usual pre-dawn energy. The terminal was alive with the sounds of announcements, the rolling of suitcases, and the chatter of travelers. Passengers checked in, bags rumbled towards their destinations, and the sky held the promise of countless journeys about to begin. The air was filled with anticipation and the excitement of new adventures. Among them, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, a Boeing 777, stood ready for its scheduled flight to Beijing. The aircraft gleamed under the airport lights, a symbol of modern engineering and reliability. 239 souls, a mix of nationalities, backgrounds, dreams were on board, unaware they were about to become part of one of aviation's most baffling mysteries. Each passenger carried their own story, their own hopes for the journey ahead. At 12:41 a.m., MH370 lifted off, the lights of Kuala Lumpur shrinking beneath. The plane ascended smoothly, the city below becoming a sea of twinkling lights. The first leg of the journey was routine. Passengers settled in, some dozing off, others engrossed in in-flight entertainment. Air traffic control received the usual position reports, the hum of the engines a familiar sound in the night. Everything seemed perfectly normal. Then, at 1:19 a.m., as MH370 approached Vietnamese airspace, the unthinkable happened. The routine communication that was expected never came. The routine radio call never came. Silence filled the airwaves where there should have been a voice. Air traffic controllers tried to reach the flight, their calls met with an eerie silence. The minutes ticked by with no response, increasing the tension in the control room. MH370 had vanished. The blip on the radar screen that represented the flight was no longer there. The initial response was disbelief. How could a modern aircraft simply disappear? Perhaps a minor technical glitch, a temporary loss of communication. These things happened occasionally, and usually the connection was quickly re-established. But as minutes stretched into hours, a chilling reality began to set in. The flight was not just out of contact, it was missing. MH370 wasn't just late, it was gone, lost somewhere over the vast expanse of the Gulf of Thailand. The enormity of the situation began to dawn on everyone involved. The world watched, waited and hoped, but the silence from MH370 remained unbroken. Families and friends of the passengers clung to hope, even as the hours turned into days. The disappearance of MH370 was not just about a plane vanishing from radar, it was the baffling nature of its disappearance that amplified the mystery. The aircraft seemed to vanish into thin air, leaving behind a trail of questions and very few answers. MH370's intended route was a well-trodden path between Kuala Lumpur and Beijing over familiar airspace. This route was frequented by many flights daily, making the sudden disappearance even more perplexing. Yet, shortly after its last communication, the aircraft deviated from its course. This deviation was not just a minor detour. It was a significant change in direction that took the plane far off its intended path. Analysis of military radar and satellite data revealed that MH370 had inexplicably turned west, crossing back over the Malaysian peninsula. This unexpected turn raised numerous questions about the intentions behind such a maneuver. It flew south over the Strait of Malacca, then veered southeast, heading towards the vast emptiness of the southern Indian Ocean. This path led the aircraft into one of the most remote and least monitored areas of the world. This wasn't a random deviation, it suggested deliberate action, a chilling thought for investigators and the world watching. The calculated nature of the flight path indicated that someone on board had a specific plan in mind. Adding to the puzzle was the deliberate shutdown of communication systems. This act of silencing the aircraft's communication channels was not something that could happen by accident. The transponder, which broadcasts an aircraft's identity and location, was switched off. This meant that the aircraft was no longer visible to civilian radar, making it even harder to track. The Aircraft Communications Addressing and Reporting System, or ACARS, responsible for sending data updates to the ground, was also silenced. This system provided crucial information about the aircraft's status, and its sudden silence was alarming. This deliberate effort to disappear deepened the mystery, fueling speculation about what truly transpired on board MH370. The world was left to wonder about the fate of the passengers and crew. The deviation from the planned route, the deliberate silencing of communication, all pointed towards something more than a simple accident. It suggested a well-thought-out plan, executed with precision. It painted a picture of a ghost ship in the sky, its motives and its final destination shrouded in a silence as deep as the ocean where it was believed to have crashed. The mystery of MH370 continues to haunt the world, a puzzle that remains unsolved. The disappearance of MH370 triggered one of the largest and most complex search operations in aviation history. The world watched in shock and disbelief as the mystery of the missing plane unfolded, leading to a massive international response. Countries from around the world, united by a shared sense of urgency and a desire for answers, pooled their resources. Governments, aviation experts and volunteers all came together, driven by the hope of finding the missing aircraft and bringing closure to the families. Ships, planes and sophisticated underwater vehicles were deployed, scanning vast swathes of the Indian Ocean. The search efforts were unprecedented in scale, involving cutting-edge technology and extensive manpower. The initial search focused on the Gulf of Thailand, where the plane was last detected by radar. This area was scoured meticulously, with hopes high that the aircraft would be found quickly. However, the discovery of the westward deviation shifted the search area thousands of miles southeast. This new information drastically changed the scope and direction of the search, adding to the complexity of the mission. The remoteness of the new search zone, the unforgiving nature of the ocean, and the lack of precise data about the plane's final resting place made the task Herculean. Search teams faced treacherous weather, deep ocean trenches, and vast, uncharted territories. Despite the challenges, the search continued for years. The dedication and perseverance of the search teams were unwavering as they combed through the ocean, mission after mission. Sonar equipment scoured the ocean floor, hoping to detect the plane's wreckage. These high-tech devices were crucial in mapping the seabed and identifying potential debris. Autonomous underwater vehicles were deployed to explore areas inaccessible to larger vessels. These AUVs could dive deeper and navigate through the complex underwater terrain, providing valuable data. Teams analyzed satellite data, ocean currents, and drift patterns, trying to narrow down the search area. The collaboration between scientists and search teams was essential in refining the search strategy. Yet, the ocean remained stubbornly silent. The vastness and depth of the ocean posed a significant challenge, with no clear signs of the missing plane. Although some pieces of debris, confirmed to be from MH370, washed ashore on islands thousands of miles apart, these fragments provided only limited clues. The main wreckage eluded discovery. The scattered debris raised more questions than answers, deepening the mystery. The lack of a crash site, a black box, or any concrete evidence only intensified the mystery, leaving investigators and families of the missing with more questions than answers. The search for MH370 remains one of the most perplexing and challenging endeavors in aviation history. The emotional toll on the families and the relentless efforts of the investigators highlight the human aspect of this tragedy, a poignant reminder of the enduring quest for truth and closure. What do you think happened to MH370? Share your thoughts below. Do like, share and subscribe for more interesting content.